Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. Good morning, folks. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I want to invite you to a special program, lots of information for you today. And also, we're going to open all the banks of phones so that you'll have no problem getting through. We've had some challenges with the phones. We've had to add a couple of lines, so this week we added not only a couple of lines, but we have updated the complete broadband with fiber, and I'm really proud of that. So what you're hearing today, I say hoping because we can only hear ourselves here in the studio, but we're hoping that it is crystal clear, because literally we're coming to you with zero loss that we know of, including reaching from Pensacola, Florida, the center of the automotive universe, to Westwood One and Angel and all of our great crew there in New York City that puts us on the satellite. So good morning. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Let's get the show on the road. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by Power Frame Grid Technology, are stronger, more durable, and keep you going. Look for the Power Frame logo on the outside. You'll know you're getting true strength on the inside. Batteries with Power Frame Grid Technology are available at Advanced Auto Parts and the Car Quest. Go to powerframe.com to find a store near you. This segment also brought to you by Delphi, not just quality. Delphi quality. Connect with Delphi Auto Parts on Facebook for tech tips and auto advice when I come back. Delphi knows diesel engines. With over 60 years experience in advanced diesel fuel injection and fuel delivery systems, Delphi is an industry leader for all truck classifications. Adhering to strict remanufacturing processes, Delphi completely disassembles, cleans, and examines each fuel injector. Then, each injector is tested to OE standards for compliance in fuel delivery, injection pressure, and timing. When it comes time for repair, remember, high standards below the surface. And remember, Delphi. Drive to Delphi.com/AM. Today's new product spotlight is on Denso's Iridium TT spark plugs. Your vehicle's spark plugs deliver the electric current necessary to ignite the fuel that runs your engine, but not all spark plugs are the same. Denso is proud to introduce the Iridium TT spark plug. The Iridium TT's two tips, the twin tip, allow the spark plug to create the largest spark concentration and explosion for more power, superior fuel economy, and fewer emissions. And fewer emissions help protect our environment, while fewer visits to the pump save you money. Denso's Iridium TT spark plug is designed to last beyond 100,000 miles. Formula features the highest iridium concentration of any spark plug and outperforms in the most severe engine temperatures, resisting oxidation and voltage wear. Denso has the tradition of innovation. Using their OE expertise, Denso products are manufactured to give you the right part the first time, every time. Learn more about Denso's Iridium TT spark plugs at densott.com. How can you improve battery performance? Power Frame Grid Technology, a more advanced kind of positive grid technology designed to combat the common causes of premature battery failure. Power Frame Grid Technology is formed from a single sheet of precisely rolled and stamped metal. This patented manufacturing process makes the battery more resistant to corrosion. Look for the Power Frame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. Visit powerframe.com to find a retailer near you.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Like Shakespeare, we ask the question, what's in a name? Ours is pretty blah. We're Geico, not to be confused with Gecko, a small tree lizard. And no, Geico doesn't have a sister company named Girl Co. So, in the absence of a perfect name, focus group tested for hipness, we offer car insurance at a fair price. In 15 minutes, you could save 15%. Call 1-800-947-AUTO, 1-800-947-AUTO. Our name may not be cool, but saving money always is. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
I tend to put things off. For example, I put off getting a home equity line of credit for a while. Then one day, when I should have been doing my laundry, I went to LendingTree.com. I filled out one simple form and got 4 offers back within hours. Then I chose the line of credit that was right for me. Who knows? Using it someday.
You win at LendingTree.com. Equal housing opportunity. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started today. Thank you for tuning in. For those of you who are new to Bobby Likis Car Clinic, I founded Bobby Likis Car Clinic Service Pre-Repair, the prevention of repair, in 1971. So for the past 44 years, we've operated a rather large facility with 5,000 square feet and then doubled it to 10,000. And now we have altogether a 15,000 square foot automotive service and repair facility, and that's located in Pensacola, Florida. And we call it the center of the automotive universe because within that 15,000 square foot automotive service shop, we built Acoustic Systems actually was the builder, but we designed the studios. So we come to you live from those studios. The studio is a very nice unit, to say the least. The floor weighs about 10,000 pounds. It doesn't touch the concrete. It's rests on rubber so that it's isolated from any noise and sound from the highway. We're on Davis Highway, which is a major thoroughfare, so there's no vibration, no air to escape, which means no sound to come in. It really is way cool. I wish you could sit with me in the studio. So I would invite you today to sit with me in the studio and enjoy the surroundings, the environment. It's like driving an automobile. You get out of one car like you get in a new car, and it's everything you ever dreamed of, and it really is. I mean, you know, we think that way, but most often there's a shortcoming there at one point or other, but not in this case. This is the most quiet, controlled atmosphere that you could possibly want to be in. So I invite you to join me. I'll be your eyes and ears here, and I'll answer your car questions. Miss Kim will take your calls at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by Delphi. Not just quality parts, Delphi quality parts. Connect with Delphi Auto Parts on Facebook, and you'll find some great tech tips and auto advice. Delphi. And for your information, I've been to the Delphi headquarters, to their customer center, and it is quite a toy room, to say the least. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on with all of the manufacturers and all of the designers of software and hardware for the cars that you drive. You may have heard about the Jeep that was broken into and was hijacked, and so we're going to hear a little more about that a little bit later in the show as well. Elon Musk, they've determined that there was a strut that caused one of his SpaceX projects to explode, and they're really looking more deeply into that. But I think he's done a fantastic job. There will always be failures with progress. That is part of progress. So we have to look at the positive side of those particular events to draw out and to take a look at that. Oh, okay, I'll take your calls now. Kim will, 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546, and put you in a queue, and I'll put you on the air. Let's go to North Carolina and talk with Joe. Joe, you're first up. Then I see Jim from Michigan, our Car Clinic reporter, who will be joining us soon. But first, Joe, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic from North Carolina.
Yes, sir. I got a '01 Buick LeSabre Custom.
Okay.
And I was told by a GM dealer to put a cluster in it. So I put a cluster in it, and that didn't help it. And I took it back to the local GM in Suffolk. and they can't find out what's wrong with it. And when it was in there, if you pull it in, I got a collision center. You pull it inside the building, and you can see the lights up in the background of it, but none of the gauges work. What's going on now?
Well, if I could answer that question, I indeed would be a miracle worker. Really, Joe. Here's the bottom line. The cluster is a digital cluster, so you replaced the assembly, correct?
Yes, sir. I rebuilt one. Yes, sir, from GM.
What was not working on the cluster?
The gas, the RPMs, and the temperature gauge. I think that's all three of them that's on the dash of that car.
Okay, then the question that I would have with you, what is common with the cluster? There has to be like a body control module. The source of power for the cluster has to come from some either a relay or a black box. And there's a tree that we use. When I say you think of a tree and branches and roots and trunk and all that, well, that's exactly what we use. We use a wiring diagram along with all of the fancy handheld scan tools that we have, but we use these wiring diagrams, and we'll do a pinout test. Now, for instance, I can't begin to tell you how to fix it, but I can tell you what needs to be done to find the problem. And one, you have to know that there's power going to that system, and then
it's plugged in. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, if you plugged your lamp in your wall and it still didn't work, you not want to check the power going to the wall?
I'd be checking the fuse box or something.
That's right. Well, then take your mind away from the cluster, because we don't care if we know it's plugged in. I mean, the old one was plugged in. Say, I want you to expand. We have to dig more deeply into what could possibly be the problem. So what we want to know is, and let's just say there's a 30-pin connector. There's probably 40, 50 pins, but let's just say there's a 30-pin connector. Each one of those pins is numbered 1 through 30. Now, that doesn't mean, I want you to understand, Joe, doesn't mean that yours has 30. It could have 70. But whether it's got 33 or 40 or 70, each one of those pins, which is where the plug goes in, is numbered, and each one of those wires then travels from that cluster to a designated point. You with me so far? Just like you were in your mind, you were mentioning the fuse box at your home. Exactly.
Right.
The first thing you would, of course, the easiest thing you would do is you would plug another lamp into that same socket. And if the other lamp worked and the one you had didn't work, even with a new bulb, you'd say, oh, I got a problem with a lamp. It is possible that you have a problem with the replacement cluster. It's possible. So don't discard that. You haven't proven that you've got a known quality cluster yet. The only way you could really prove that would be to take the cluster from another automobile that is working and plug it into your vehicle. Now you got a known quality. If it doesn't work in the car, but it does work in the next car, you know with your car and not with the cluster. So I just want you to know that, because when you're dealing with electronics, anything is the sky is the limit. Anything like that can happen. So let me back way up here just so I can save time and make room for more calls as well, and also help you.
Yes, sir.
Did you not say that the dealer replaced this unit?
I put doing 49 years.
Okay, I got you.
And I put it in, and I thought the cluster was bad because somebody told me that. So
right.
My GM dealer sent me another one.
Right.
So it's not the cluster. I've done been through.
Okay.
This is the second one in there.
Okay. All right. That makes sense now. So now that I got the rest of the story, so here's what I would. You're obviously in a little bit over your head. I'm glad you called me. So what you need now is for the. I would. Unfortunately, you're going to have to seek out some help, and I would, if you of course sound like you do with the dealer, I would take the vehicle into the dealer, because there's a wire or there's a relay or a black box somewhere that works in conjunction with the cluster that is not providing it, and that could well be a body control module. And let me share this with you. It's a short story, but it's a factual story. One of my cars is a 2001 Town and Country. The battery went down, and I jumped it off like we all do, and you've done that many times. And in the process of jumping it off, it started, but the cluster did not work. Nothing worked on the cluster, totally black. There were some other functions that did not work as well, and I forget what they were. I think the interior lights didn't work. The radio did, kind of odd to me, but it still worked. But here's the bottom line. I jumped this car off. My wife had to drive the car and did so, but I said, well, just drive it with a blank cluster. This was on a Sunday. We'll get it into the shop on Monday. She calls me 2 hours later from the mall and says, now the car won't start. It will turn over, but it won't start. So we towed it in. Long story short, I replaced the battery, and while I was replacing the battery, I was pulling the dash apart to find the body control module, which is what I think your problem is, in the body control module. And in the meantime, while I was getting the number off of the existing body control module, my technician had already replaced the battery, because that was a, point and shoot. It was easy enough just to unbolt and bolt a new battery in. So while he did that, when he hooked the new battery back up, the body control module rebooted and it worked. And I had not had time to disassemble or remove the body control module. We disconnected the battery, and in doing so, the body control module rebooted. I said all that to say to you that the control module sounds like it's damaged in your automobile. The first thing I would do is disconnect the battery, wait 30 seconds, and reconnect the battery altogether. If that doesn't fix the car, take it into the dealer and have them to trace the body control module. And folks, I'll be back to take your calls after this break. Let's go to the Car Clinic inbox for another email. Frank in Baltimore writes, thanks for the great show, Bobby. I'm a longtime listener and a big fan. I've been restoring my uncle's old ski boat. Big project, by the way. I'm almost done, but I'd like to dress up the motor since it's exposed. I was thinking some valve covers, maybe some cool chrome stuff, things like that. Can you point me in the right direction? Well, thanks for listening, Frank. I love restoration projects, and restoring older ski boats has become quite popular, especially the older flat bottoms. Cult-like following. If you're a longtime Car Clinic listener, you know that K&N is one of our partners, and knfilters.com is a great place to look. I want to also suggest one of K&N's affiliate companies, Spectre Performance. Drive to Spectre, that's SPECTRE Performance.com, and you'll find some great accessories for your project. This Tire Maintenance Minute is brought to you by General Tire. Anywhere is possible with a grabber line of light truck tires, born from competition. Two important measures of a tire's strength: ply rating and load range. Though today's tires are made of one or two layers of steel ply with radial construction, ply rating refers to the equivalent of the number of cotton layers, the original material used to strengthen tires, that would be required to deliver the same strength. Load range indicates the maximum weight that a tire can withstand horizontally. Installing tires with a lower ply rating and load range than specified by the manufacturer can present serious safety issues. Drive to GeneralTire.com to learn more about the grabber line of light truck tires. And while you're there, check out the Tire Stacks and Greenbacks promotion, where you can get up to $70 cash back with a purchase of 4 General tires. Visit GeneralTire.com for more details.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
The airlines like to have sales. Summer getaway sales, holiday sales, winter sales. Truth is, at any moment, some airline somewhere is on sale with low fares to great destinations. Travelocity knows exactly what's going on, who's on sale, to where, and when, at over 700 airlines worldwide. We even have this nifty feature that lets you look at a calendar so that you can see exactly the days the great fares are available. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere. AOL keyword, travel.
Hun, guess my temperature.
It's 2 a.m. Go to sleep.
Come on, one guess.
Higher, 98.
Higher.
Higher, 99.
You're getting warmer. Wait, I'm getting warmer.
Cold symptoms keeping you from getting sleep? Get NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever so you can sleep better to feel better medicine. Use as directed.
One more guess.
100.
Yes. Tell her what she's won, Bob.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join me this morning. This is, I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of shows that we've done or hours, but 24 years, Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And our website has many interviews that we have produced over the years. So if you've heard us talking with someone about a new automobile or a new concept automobile, and you wanted to hear it again, you can either go to iTunes and download podcast, or you can go to Car Clinic Network, and that's all one word, carclinicnetwork.com. And we have just an interesting site there on the front page. And like all sites, it's a bit busy. You know, that's one of the downfalls of websites is, you know, you start, and I'm sorry, I keep hitting my microphone. This is bothering me. Let me fix this. There we go. Like a lot of websites, over time you add to them and you add to them and you add to them. What we should be adding is some white space to our website. It's sort of like someone in a newspaper or a book, a print magazine. You know, it's how many words can I cram into this? Or like a spot that some of our sponsors want me to record. How many words can you cram? I'm a 76-word guy for 30 seconds. And when you get past 80, 82, 84 words, Kevin, you know the drill.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's you know the bottom line is what you need to know is I'll share with you information about products that I know work, and for our sponsors and that our sponsors are advertisers for this program, I share with you information that I know works because we're in the business, and that makes a difference. So if you have a question, and just for you to know, the only dumb car question is the one not asked. So if you've got a question, or you're going to take your car in the first of the week and have service, or it's maybe in a shop now and you just need to know more information, it's like going to the doctor and you walk out of there and you say, well, what didn't I ask? So you can call me and I'll help you with that. 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. I often tell you about what's happening in my shop, and now you can catch a glimpse of the work my technician professionals do every day. It's really, really neat. This is part of the technology I enjoy. You can check out my new Pinterest board. It's called In the Shop with Bobby Likis on Pinterest.com/Bobby Likis, Likis. And on this week's In the Shop board, we pinned some photos of a 1999 Chevrolet Silverado with 329,000 miles on it. Johnny Bars was the doctor. He's the ASE Master Certified Technician who worked on it, and yours truly. This one I had a hand in. It was a rear end. The symptom was a rear end differential assembly. It was howling. And as you know, or may not know, when you drive down the road and you hear a differential whine, they let off the gas and it goes away. Folks, that's not good, and that can be very expensive. Well, what we ended up doing, the treatment to this particular diagnosis and symptom, was to replace the ring gear and pinion and all the related bearings. We just overhauled the rear differential. And the gear setup calls for precise installation tolerances within about 2/1000ths of an inch. Now, that's a human hair is about 2/1000ths. A newspaper, the thickness of a newspaper is 2/1000ths of an inch. So you've got these big gears in there, and the pinion goes into the ring gear and drives it. And it has to be within 2/1000ths of an inch in proximity, in location, and it has to be held there. So when you have a bearing that goes bad, that allows alignment, and that's where the howling comes from. Anyway, seeing is believing, so we put some pictures there for you. You can just drive to Pinterest.com/Bobby Likis and look for the In the Shop board, and you can see all the updates. We call it Reality Auto Repair because, indeed, it's what's going on in the shop every day in shops across the nation. Pretty interesting stuff for you. Let's go to Michigan and talk with Jim. Jim, thank you for holding. Welcome to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. How are you this week, sir?
Well, I'm doing pretty good, Bobby. An exciting week. And there's a lot that I could put on the show today, but I think we're going to just stay to our time limit and go that way. For example, Fiat Chrysler will recall vehicles over hacking worries. Now, when they proved that the cars could be hacked, and many of their models could, they're agreeing with the government to warn 1.4 million owners that they can fix these models and get a USB connection and upgrade the software and keep getting protection in that manner. So it does not mean at this point that they've been hacked, had an accident. No, they have not, but the potential is a demonstration of what a hacker could do on TV prompted this government point on making sure that the drivers do not have that potential.
Well, you know, Jim, I saw that, and I know that, and folks, what Jim is referring to is the recent Chrysler car that was hacked into, and that list, Jim, includes 2013 and through 15 Dodge Vipers and Dodge 300, 2500, and 3500 pickups. Also, the Jeep Grand Cherokee and the Cherokees, Dodge Durango, the Chrysler 200, the Chrysler 300, and the Dodge Charger. But Jim, I got to say this: the two individuals that are hacking and did the hacking have been doing this for several years. In fact, as memory serves me, because we talked about this, I'm not sure that you called in and reported it, but we had it on the program a year or so ago, where they had taken over a particular car. Of course, they were sitting in the car, and the driver was driving it, and they had hardwired in the car. Now, having said that, what as I understand, what this Jeep break-in is all about is they hacked through the media inside the radio, not radio, but it's the media computer. And so when they did, they were able to get more deeply in there. Just for you,
right, they can control everything: the steering, the windshield wipers,
the transmission, and the gas. Here's something that some years ago, and I'm going to say probably 10 years ago, I moderated a session called Connect Two Cars, and it's probably still online somewhere with the Consumer Electronics Association, and we had 9 presenters. We had the president of one of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Actually, it was the organization that tests for crashed planes. That's what it was. That national association. He was a speaker at noon, and here was we had the gentleman from Microsoft, who was, and this was early on. Now this was 10 years ago, so you didn't think about a car being a hot spot 10 years ago, but that's what it was all about. And the goal that we had, and I didn't work for, I was asked to moderate the session by the Consumer Electronics Association. And our goal was to give each one of our guests 15 minutes on the panel and let them share with us what they were doing with the automotive industry. That was Microsoft, that was Johnson Controls, and Johnson Controls is the company that owns and created the power frame grid technology battery, not the battery itself, that grid, which is a fantastic grid. But the bottom line, it was our goal to get these presenters to share with us what their companies, whether it was Sprint and the director for Sprint, Joe Avercamp, one of the most intelligent, smart fellows I've ever met with regard to wireless and communications. And then we had, as I said, the gentleman from Johnson Controls, GM, Ford, Microsoft. So, and that was long before Sync ever came on the scene with Ford Motor Company. I said all that to say that our goal was, sort of behind the scenes, was to get them to spill the beans, to find out what they were putting in their new cars, because the Consumer Electronics Show is focused on the Electronics Association, which is the aftermarket. Well, lo and behold, we learned a lot, but here was the real concern. The concern was that if the manufacturers opened the media, the dashboard, to the aftermarket, like Apple Play, like you can plug in your phone, how deeply do you allow technology to get into the architecture of the software? And because if you can go through one layer, how do you stop the person that goes in from going to the safety layer, which is the ABS brakes, the throttle control, the airbag deployment? I mean, it's all part of the car. So it does not, and I'm just saying this, it does not surprise me that these two gentlemen who eat, sleep, and breathe hacking and have the time to do so manage to write code. But I would be willing to go out on a very heavy limb, not with no fear of it breaking off, to say that they probably have copious amounts of hours in writing code, because a car today, I mean, 10 years ago had 1 million lines of code. A car today has 100 million lines of code. So
to break that, you got to be a genius.
You do. So these are a couple of geniuses. Now, is it a scary process? It depends on how you look at it. I don't think it's scary at all, because the chances of them hitching onto a car and hacking it as it's driving down the road are nil. Not nil because they've done it, but the chances of that being a mass production problem. And here's the good news, and this is why I appreciate your calling in. The good news is that this brings about a presence of what's possible, so that the manufacturers will say, hey, here's how they did this. In school, and have you not had in school, didn't your schooling for computers, and Kevin's our producer, have to do with learning how to hack? Was that part of what you did?
School for computers, right?
I know, but you've studied computers, right?
A little bit. I never got into that aspect.
That aspect of it.
Construction.
Well, we've had Daniel, who worked here before. That's what he went to school, and they taught him how to hack, because they wanted to. Once you know how to take something apart or get in where you're not supposed to be, I mean, once you break a safe, you figure out how to fix it where it's unbreakable. So to me, it's all a part of Congress. What do you think, Jim?
I think that's absolutely true, Bobby.
I say Congress,
I
meant progress.
Does not mean all are bad, because what they can do if they work legitimately is to show how that hack can be stopped.
Yes, absolutely. So the good news is, the bad news is they hacked. The good news is they hacked. And so Fiat and Chrysler and the automobiles, they've all agreed Friday to recall 1.4 million vehicles that can be cyber hacked remotely. As Congress and automakers and regulators are raising increasing concerns about vehicle communications. So, Jim, we're coming up on a break. Did you have any other information you want to share with us? I can add to the break if you did.
Yeah, I'd like to come back after the break.
All right. Well, just hang right in there. And folks, we have, I see that Keith is on the phone, another line. Let me give you the number so you can call in. I'd like to get your feel on this and your take on this. It's an open forum at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546 when I come back. Here's an email from a Car Clinic listener. David writes, what's the amber light on my dash? It looks like a cork pointing to a picture on the side of the car. This light has been on and off for about a year now, and I think it's time I check it out. Well, David, no time like the present. The light indicates a detected failure. Gasoline fumes to evaporate into the air, costing you money in lost fuel and polluting the air. Most common failure that trips the light? A small evap leak, or in other words, loose fuel cap. Besides being tight, the cap must also be in good. Fuel caps don't last forever, and poor quality caps don't work well from the beginning. Stant makes a large line of fuel caps that will last a very long time and ensure proper sealing of the system. Stant fuel only aftermarket caps to include all the safety features of the original equipment cap. Visit Stant.com or ask your local parts store for a Stant gas cap by name.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Waking up can be a chore, but mornings knocking on my front door. Know just what I'll do. Put on a pot of Folgers brew. Mountain grown aroma hits the spot. Helps me give all that I've got. An opportunity to start out smiling and happy. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Good night, Prevotella. Good night, actinomyces. Good night, Streptococcus.
Germs, millions of them.
They've been building up in your mouth all day, and some of them can even lead to the gum disease gingivitis. Say goodnight with Listerine. Just 30 seconds of Listerine before bed kills germs, even germs that can cause gingivitis. Use Listerine every night and go to sleep with a healthier mouth. See your dentist. Use as directed when brushing and flossing aren't enough.
If you're familiar with the Kulseford section of the newspaper, you probably understand this message quite well. You see, in the Kulseford section, everything gets abbreviated. Consonants, vowels, prepositional phrases, the very building blocks of our language are thrown right out the window. It makes it difficult when you're trying to sell your car. You've got a limited amount of space to work with, and by the time you abbreviate the description of your car down to a couple of fragmented sentences, it sounds less like a car and more like a Bluck sedan with sniffed like new condition lemals. No wonder more people are selling their cars through eBay Motors. They can post unlimited text and photo descriptions, and with a nationwide marketplace, they're likely to sell it for more. Plus, both parties can be covered by eBay's Vehicle Protection Program. Buyers are happy, sellers are happy, and no one's abbreviating. eBay Motors, a better way to sell your car.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to today's edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. A special reach out to our listeners in Lafayette, Louisiana, who catch Car Clinic on our affiliate KPEL 96.5 FM. I want you to know, folks, the entire Car Clinic team sends our thoughts your way for healing after the assault on one of your movie theaters there, and we appreciate you and what you must be going through. So for all of our Car Clinic folks and our listeners and your families listening and catching the Car Clinic program on KPEL 96.5 in Lafayette, we're with you, and we know that you'll make it to the other side. We're talking with Jim. I see that Keith and Ted are calling. Keith is from Florida, Ted's from New York, Jim from Michigan. Jim, one more topic, and then we'll take other calls, if you will.
Okay, very good. I'll try to make it brief because the callers are a very important part of the show.
They are.
Okay, the Honda Motor Company hopes to gain traction in the red-hot compact SUV segment of the new 2016 model year. And it's going to come with a lot of extra features that will want you to help them with their sales by having that car in your garage. The all-new Drive Tucson has a larger wheelbase. And that is, predecessor includes 19-inch alloy wheels, an inch bigger than the previous generation, and most fuel efficient you can get by getting 33 miles per gallon on the highway. So they are improving their mileage and safety features, and this is a reason why they are going to draw interest with their new vehicle.
And what was that brand name again?
Okay, this was the new Hyundai Tucson car.
And with 33 miles, I can assure you that vehicles that bring the gas mileage and the economy. I mean, you know, Jim, it's a buyer's world today. If you're not sure what kind of new car you want, or it's not on the market, just wait 6 months or wait till the next new year comes out, and somebody's going to make the very car that you want. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, Ford's developing headlights that are smarter than their average glare. The video, there's a video online, and it shows you what Ford is actually doing. It's unbelievable with the aiming of headlights and the broadening of the headlights when you turn left, or using infrared to look for folks that are down the road that you wouldn't normally see at night. Jim, as always great to hear from you in Michigan. We look forward to hearing from you again soon. Take care, and thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
And now let's go to Keith. He's held the longest, and folks, the phones are open for you at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. Keith, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Thank you, Bobby.
You're welcome, sir.
I was calling about oil filters. I've been using Royal Purple. It's your suggestion for a number of years now, and I just can't say enough about the product. It's excellent. I change my oil every 5,000 miles. I also change my oil filter every time that I change the oil. And I've got 320,000 on a Lexus SUV now and have had no problems with the motor. And I attribute most of that to the oil. But I was thinking about the filter, and there's so many premium filters out there that are recommended. They say this is for other high mileage vehicles. But I guess my mind doesn't wrap around how everything inside that canister works. But I think about it as an air conditioner filter that you can get different densities and filter at different levels. But if you get it too, then it clogs up faster.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a particular filter or filters that you would recommend for a vehicle with some extra miles like mine that's using Royal Purple, or just any of the premium about the same?
Well, the same filter engine that has 300,000 miles is the same filter you'd want to use on an engine that has 300 miles, because the object of the filter is to filter, but you're very astute with regard to how tight do you get the filter. And the filter that we use the most of is the Napa Gold filter. And the Napa Gold, and now they've made a platinum because it's more expensive, but we don't find that it's worthy of the expense. In other words, how good does it have to be? And the challenge that we're faced with is the price that we charge for oil and filter and the service that goes with it and the cost therein versus the longevity. Because if you've got, not everybody, Keith, is like you with 300,000 miles that understands what quality products can do for their automobile. And while I got you on the hotline, I'll just say that the reason you have 300,000 plus miles on your vehicle is attributable to you and the way you take care of your car, because do that. Now, everyone could if they were predictive and they were preventive in their and proactive versus reactive. But getting back specifically to your filter question, yes, you can be too tight, and to that end, 15 microns is the tightest filter that I know of. 25 Royal Purple has a synthetic oil filter. It's 25 microns, and the Wix filter, which is the company in North Carolina that I've been to their factory and their test lab, they make the actual Napa Gold filter for Napa. So that's the reason that I recommend it, and I see no reason to change because it has done so well for all of my customers. And quite candidly, we, with rare exception, don't use the higher priced synthetic filters, including the Royal Purple, because of the price point. I mean, how good does it have to be? There's a point to where, if you can afford, if money is no object, I want the best of everything, but do I need the best of everything? I mean, there's a lot of dollars that we all could spend on productive maintenance versus spending more money on any particular item. I don't think that you can overbuy on wiper blades, because wiper blades they're a tremendous value, and they're resting on the windshield all the time, so that they have a curvature problem. I know that manufacturers have, especially on the rear of SUVs, put elevator ramps so that when the wipers park, and even some windshield wipers on some cars, I can't name them off the top of my head, when the parks, it comes down and parks, and it lifts the blade, lifts the arm, so the blade doesn't have that constant pressure. But overall, that hasn't worked, and so manufacturers have said, well, just replace the blades ever so often, and we can make it so it wouldn't wear the blade, but the blade is less expensive than what the results would be if we tried to manufacture it that way. So if I were you, I would continue to do the same thing that you've done. We use the Napa Gold in probably 98% of all the filters, except for on those cars that have a particular brand. Some Audis and some Mercedes-Benz, we buy our filters from Audi and from Mercedes-Benz, only because we find that a lot of the owners are very particular about their vehicles. and so we would do that because they're happier, and we want them to be happy. And it's not about the dollars. We actually the dollars could be cheaper, and they could spend less money if they bought a Napa Gold over a Mercedes filter. But it's not about the money; it's about making the owner happy. So I think you should continue to do exactly what you have done in the past. Obviously, you're on the right track.
Well, Bobby, thank you. And I learned a long time ago that a wise person's going to listen to experts, and there's no way in the world that I can ever have the experience that you and your shop have had. So I appreciate your show because you share that experience with us at no cost, and we're able to get it over the radio, and it certainly helps us and saves us money. So thank you for what you do.
I thank you, Keith. That you're very kind, and I appreciate your kind words. And if I can help you with anything in your futures, all you need to do is just give me a dial, and I'm right here for you. I appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Now let's go to New York and talk to Ted. Ted, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
How you doing, Bobby?
I'm just fine, thank you. Have you heard with Keith? I'm sort of floating on the air right now. It's just, everyone loves to feel appreciated. And I will tell you, my team, we have, and I was with friends last evening and the night before, and we were talking about, we just won Best of the Bay, Best Automotive Service Shop, and Best Oil Change of the Bay. Our 5th year in a row to win the Best Award, but it's been since 2011 that we won both categories, and Bobby Likis Car Clinic Pre-Repair, and we did that because we do have the best team that we've ever had in-house, and it shows because, our goal is to help our customers and their cars and treat those cars like the car belonged to us. And you can't always do that because, there's a dollar, how much money do you spend? There's always a close call between doing everything the car needs and what the car needs now, and then you can book or what it needs to have performed at a later date. Anyway, thank you for calling from New York. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good, thank you, sir. What can I do for you?
I have a 2002 GMC Safari van. It has about 110,000 miles on it, and it's kind of a third vehicle now, so we use it for some trips around town, not as much, but for the last couple of years, we do use it to go to our lake place. It's about 2 hours away.
Okay.
And when I get it on the highway, usually not all the time, about 45 minutes into the highway, all of a sudden the speed will start picking up, and I'll notice the engine's revving. I'll have to put it in neutral, and then the engine's revving really high, and the only way to get it back down is to kick the gas pedal real hard a few times, and it kicks it back down.
Okay.
I've Googled this, and I can't seem to find anything. Just taking stabs in the dark. I changed the throttle position sensor. I cleaned out the throttle body with carb cleaner. And I don't know what seems to be causing this, but
I would
kind
imagine
of a dangerous thing.
It is a dangerous thing, and that is not common. What controls that vehicle is a throttle, idle air controller. So I would imagine that you have a defective idle air controller. And if I were to say to you, well, you know what a tracheotomy is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have false air that's entering your engine, within a fuel-injected car, you can give it false air. That's air that doesn't come through the mouth of the engine, but as I implied with a tracheotomy, it comes through a false or a leaking air somewhere. Then you could have something so simple as a vacuum canister or an intake port that's leaking air. You could have an idle air speed controller that is feeding air from another source. So you let off the accelerator, the gas pedal comes back, but yet there's air that's getting in the engine, because as long as air is getting in the engine, that engine's going to run. So I would say that we know that it has to definitely be, you and I know that your problem has to definitely be on the intake side. That's the lungs of the engine, because if you shut down the lungs of the engine, it will not run. So that's what I would do, is to take it into a service shop and have them to check the idle. And does the check engine light come on?
No.
Well,
no, and it was a couple weeks ago we went up to the lake,
right.
and it happened on the way up, and I did that thing to get it back down, and then, on the way back, it just didn't happen again, and it's just occasionally, but it's always in a highway.
Well,
around town.
Gotcha. Well, around town, you exercise that throttle body a lot, and we have actually replaced some throttle bodies in those automobiles. We found that the throttle body has been defective or just worn out. I won't say it's defective. It went bad. I guess it's defective after it goes bad. So defective implies that it came that way from the factory, and parts go bad with wear. So definitely I would focus on the throttle body, take it into a service shop, have them to run some tests on the throttle body, and whatever you do, don't let anyone clear any codes, because just because the check engine light is not on doesn't mean that there aren't codes stored in the computer, like fuel trim. That's a very well-known, with lead technicians and ASE technicians, that's a very well-known place to search for irregularities, because if you get over 3% fuel trim, lean or rich, the correction, then you've got a problem with airflow or with fuel flow, and that's what you're looking for. So that's what I would recommend. A certified ASE technician, check the throttle body, check the idle airspeed, and check for faults within the onboard computer, even though the check engine light is not on. And then you'll get that information. And once you get that information, go in and ask not for repairs, ask for tests, not for diagnosis. Ask for tests, and the test will confirm yay or nay. And confirmation on one test, then there's another test. You say, well, how many tests? I don't know, 3 or 4. But at some point, the technician will find some irregularity and say, well, wait a minute, the car runs okay, but here's something that shouldn't be this way. The fuel trim, just remember, fuel trim, IAC, which is idle air controller, and false air, which is vacuum leaks and intake manifold leaks. Somewhere in that realm, your technician will find the problem that you're seeking. Hey, thanks so much for your call, and when you get to the other side, or if you need more information after next week or so, you feel free to call me at any time.
All right, thank you very much for your help.
You're welcome very much. Appreciate it. Folks, I'd like for you to go to Facebook.com, Twitter.com, and Pinterest.com/Bobby Likis, all of them, and like me. So do that, and then when we get to the other side of the top of the hour break, we'll come back with the second hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Likis, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Extreme, way out there sports are impressive, but the grueling testing of E15 by the U.S. Department of Energy is in a league all its own. E15, or 15% ethanol blended fuel, has undergone the most robust and rigorous fuel testing done to date. For example, in a Department of Energy study, a subset of 86 vehicles driven more than 6 million miles, that's the equivalent of 12 round trips to the moon, on test tracks and dynamometers were torn down and inspected. Result: no discernible difference in engine wear between test fuels in vehicles made in model years 2001 and later, as approved by the EPA. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Drive to ethanolrfa.org. That's ethanolrfa.org.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Bob, what's new? Last month I'm in Africa. When this wildebeest charges me, we butt heads and he's history. After I pull my guide from the jaws of an alligator, I dig into some beef jerky. I get heartburn. I take out my Rolaids as I'm fighting off a wild boar. In under 10 seconds it starts working. Then the boar is bye-bye. My heartburn's gone.
Rolade starts working in under 10 seconds? You expect me to believe that?
It's true. Rolade starts neutralizing acid in under 10 seconds. ROLAIDS spells relief. Use as directed.
While Johnny Kim was getting ready for the first customers of the day, someone else was looking at larger space for his growing business. At 3 o'clock, while the Curtis family was watching their daughter's soccer game, someone else was walking a prospective tenant through one of their apartment buildings. And while Carmen Delabar was preparing for a fashion show, someone else met with an appraiser about her investment property. You've got a life. We let you live it. We're realtors. Real estate is our life.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Cars after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Count down to 1 minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us. We come to you live every Saturday from 10 till noon Eastern Time. Some of our affiliates, our Car Clinic affiliates, air this program at different and various times, some tape delay. So you may be hearing this program anytime other than 10 till noon Eastern Time on Saturday. Just remember that next Saturday, if you're hearing this program and it happens to be 1 o'clock somewhere, wherever you are, you can give us a call at 888 Car Clinic between 10 and noon Eastern Time, and we will take your call, and I'll talk with you, and then you can hear your own call and my answer a little later in the program. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. If your AC is blowing hot air, you're in a lot of trouble, folks. You need help. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts during Murray AC month and save dollars. Take advantage of the Do It Right rebate and earn a $50 gift card by mail when you buy a Murray AC compressor, expansion device, an accumulator, or a dryer. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices, day. I know because we buy from O'Reilly Auto Parts at Car Clinic Service Pre-Repair. This Car Clinic brought to you by Stant Corporation, bringing original equipment expertise to quality aftermarket products like fuel caps, radiator caps, and thermostats. Find Stant products for your vehicle at stant.com when I come back. Spending more time at the pump? Vehicle warm-ups taking longer? Maybe time to replace your engine's thermostat. Your engine's ability to reach and maintain proper operating temperature is key to better fuel economy, optimum performance, and lower emissions. Stant's Superstat springs to return the thermostat to the closed position and prevent cold running, and Superstat's unique design more accurately meters coolant until desired engine temp is reached. For more reasons to choose a Superstat, drive to stant.com. To celebrate their 100th anniversary, General Tire invites you to make up your very own Happy 100th Anniversary General Tire sign. Take a photo with your sign in the coolest way you can imagine and post to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Very important to remember to use the right tag. It's hashtag GT100Sweeps. Grand prize is a 01 Odyssey's off-road experience. Very cool trip. You could also win General Brand tires or limited edition 100th Anniversary t-shirts and hats. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. This Vehicle Maintenance Spotlight is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. To increase your summer vacation MPG, should you use the air conditioner or roll down the windows? Based on aerodynamics, a slick car with windows up offers less resistance and glides more easily through the atmosphere, thereby using less gas at highway speeds, even with the AC on. So turn on your air conditioner and be sure to stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts for Murray AC month. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly. When your AC stops blowing cold air, find relief during O'Reilly Auto Parts Murray AC Month. While you may need to eventually service your AC, get immediate relief with Interdynamics R134A refrigerant with leak sealer. Buy two, get one free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
Car dealers like playing games. They play percentage points, they play markups, but I don't like playing with my money. So I got my auto loan through LendingTree.com. I filled out one simple form, a marketplace of banks and lenders competed over it, and I got 4 offers back within hours. After all, the car buying game is a lot easier to win when you're holding all the cards.
LendingTree.com. When banks compete, you win. For additional information, license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
The following is a consumer alert. If you purchased a Philips Halogena light bulb 2 years ago and do not pass, a Philips Halogena bulb is guaranteed to last 2 years. Therefore, possessed, and you are not trapped in a time warp.
Philips, light bulbs that last. Guarantee based on 4 hours average daily use. See package for details.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Sit back and ride along with me. I'll give you the price of gasoline to start with, and Kim will take your calls at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. Love to hear from our affiliates and from you as well, especially those of you who may have tuned in or maybe regular listeners, as to how the quality of the program it broadcast today. It always sounds great in-house because I'm hearing my own voice. Really nice set of Sony earphones, and before that goes across the airwaves or through any telephone lines to New York, and then finds its way back to you via satellite. But today we're actually broadcasting with an all-new technology. It's fiber. And this fiber we've installed in our complete facility. So we have literally done away with copper. Now, I won't say that we've done away with copper because we still have the ISDN, which is a data link that's a backup. We have that running simultaneously in the background just in case this new should have a glitch in it. To my knowledge, so far, Kevin, so far so good. Yeah, I know. I really didn't have any doubts. And Angel is really, that's a great name for this guy. He just does a fantastic job with Westwood One. And prior to that, you know, Westwood was Cumulus and ABC, and you still hear Marty's voice talk about ABC satellite services because we started with ABC 22 years ago. And even though that those studios in New York have been purchased and sold and by various companies, it's still ABC to me and all the guys. You know, it's all about relationships. And I have found in my 44 years in automotive service, with more than 200,000 cars through our doors, that our customers like us. Yeah, they love us. It's all about relationships. And, you know, relationships are not always smooth like marriages or friendships. And so you determine just the solidarity of all of those that I've mentioned. But when you react to different challenges. So if you have a challenge with your car, you know, who are you going to blame? Well, you know, you can't blame your shop. I'm sure you want to. You can't blame yourself. I'm sure sometimes you don't, but should. But the main thing to remember is that a car is a machine. There's a lot of stuff under the hood. Transmissions and differentials and wires and modules and black boxes and 100 million lines of code, as I mentioned before. So you want to make sure that you not necessarily have to understand all that. Just that's what my job here at Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Every Saturday from 10 till noon Eastern Time, 888-227-2546. We'll take your call, put you in the queue. I'm going to go to Washington and talk with Victor, but first I want to give you the price of gasoline. The average dollar, $2.80, and that is down from the price that it was 1 year ago in all of the markets. but it is down in 7 of 10 markets from the price it was 1 week ago. But overall, $2.80. The East Coast, $2.66. Let's see where the highest price is. $3.66, a whole dollar. So that price as of the 20th, which was this past report day for the government on the site that I use, $2.80 price of gasoline. We'll go to Virginia, to Washington. Victor, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Yeah, thanks, Bobby. 100 million codes. Can you describe a code so we can kind of the sensor sense and all that?
I don't write software. I can say this, that a line of code would be similar to what, and Kevin, you correct me if I'm wrong, would be similar to what we use. In fact, you can come in on a conversation on our website. When you go to a website and you see a link and you touch that link,
right,
that's a line of code that directs.
Sort of. It's part of a line of code would be any piece of an instruction. It's more a bar of music or like a few notes when you're writing music. You have a whole composition that you're making,
right?
Which in the case of programming would be a function you want to perform with the computer. And lines of code are just like music, they execute in a certain order and they cause the computer to do certain things to function. So they're little of instructions that are fed to the computer in order. And that can be happening at millions of times a second. It's very fast.
Well, thank you, Kevin. I knew you could do a better explaining it. But Victor, as I know, some 10 years ago, a million lines of code was what the average car had in it. I say average car, I'm speaking of the average luxury car. Whereas today, and I would imagine the car that I'm driving would be one of those, has 100 million lines of code. So what that means is that there's a lot of activity going on within the automobile, and to that end, I don't know if you heard the first hour or not, but I mentioned that I had moderated a Connect to Cars super session for the Consumer Electronics Association in Las Vegas one year. And this was early on. Jim, our Car Clinic reporter from Michigan, from Detroit, had called in about the Jeep, and you may have heard about the Jeep, that the Grand Cherokee that hackers got into and
right,
took control of the, what they did, as I understand it. Maybe we should get one of those guys on the program. I think we may have had someone from that arena on the program before. Maybe the reporter that was driving the car. I think last year we did have that person, but we'll check into that in a future show, and we'll see where that goes. But what the line of code would be is the hackers got into the program and rewrote the music, I guess you could say, and so the computer saw that. Now there obviously are some safety of defense that stop the computer from doing things that it's not programmed to do. And what they did was they learned how to bypass that safety. Now, I have to admit, I don't know what I'm talking about here. I mean, as far as writing code, but it doesn't matter. In my heart of hearts, I don't believe that those gentlemen could stand outside my car and make it do something just by standing outside of my car. I think they did on that particular Jeep because they worked on that particular Jeep for quite a while, had access to that vehicle for quite a while. Now, granted, that's a one-off, but there are 1.4 million cars that Chrysler is going to recall because these 1.4 million cars have the same music. When I say the same music, are as susceptible, are vulnerable to that line of code. It's a very interesting era that we live in, and to me, it just shows you that, and indeed, automobiles are rolling computers.
Yeah, well, now I understand computer is ones and zeros, and just the amount of them represents a bit of information. Now, maybe I'm wrong, because I'm just shooting, from what I've heard people say and so forth. And also, the wavelengths where you have a pulsation of I think a wavelength is a pulsation of electricity, and each different pulsation numbers of hits identifies to the computer what's coming in and from where. And now, do these sensors, I wonder, are they able to shoot pulsations? Because they have electricity going to them, and then as they receive heat or pressure or whatever it is, then they, according to the pressure and the heat, they send a certain pulsation to the computer. Takes that pulsation, because that's what electricity is, basically, is pulsations, or else how would you communicate?
Well, that's a good question. It is electrical, and that's why they, number one, and there's a lot of information here, but we can simplify the voltages that are used in cars are like 5 volts, and so you've got a 5-volt reference. So if I send to you a 5-volt reference, and then you are a sensor, and whatever environment that you causes you to use 2 of the volts, and I get a reference signal back and it's 3 volts, then I know that your value is 2 volts. And let's just say if that's a temperature value, then if you for some reason work extra hard and require another volt, now I'm sending 5, but I'm getting back only 2, and you're using 3. Therefore, I know your position, I know elevation, I know your excitement level or your exercise level. And those are the kinds of controls that we have. Now, with regard to pulses, that's an easier question to answer, and it has to do with, like, for example, timing on an engine. The engines have a crankshaft, and you have 360 degrees in a circle. So if you know where top dead center is, and you know where the music is, you'll know that when I come back, we're going to finish the rest of this story. But Victor, you always call in with great questions. And folks, if you know more about this, please let me hear from you at 888 Car Clinic.
What's grinding you? Your brakes? Don't succumb to that daily grind. Stop it with Carlson. Whether you're a DIYer or a brake professional, choose Carlson quality brake hardware kits for the highest quality materials and processes. Carlson controls the design, engineering, and manufacturing of all their brake hardware, ensuring proper fit and performance. Why risk your brake job with inferior brake hardware that may not fit or perform properly? Eliminate the risk by asking for Carlson quality brake hardware kits for every brake job. When it comes to your car battery, you expect it to work. Turn the key and go. Thanks to state-of-the-art engineering, strong, consistent starts are exactly what you get with PowerFrame Grid technology. PowerFrame Grid technology provides superior cranking power with up to 70% better electrical flow than other grid designs. Look for the PowerFrame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the Visit powerframe.com to find a retailer near you. History is full of automotive breakthroughs, like Henry Ford's Model T in 1908 and flashing turn signals in 1935. Now, Shell is proud to introduce automotive breakthrough, Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline, featuring an innovative additive package with patented technology. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline protects against all 3 main performance threats: gunk, corrosion, and wear. All gasolines have minimal amounts of cleaning agents required by EPA, but this may not prevent buildup of deposits. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline provides unbeatable protection against gunk and corrosion, plus superior protection against wear. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline, proven in industry-standard tests and recommended by BMW M Series. Don't give your engine just any premium gasoline. Choose a breakthrough. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. Learn more at shell.com/US.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Commercials are more effective if you use real people. So on the line is Angie McPhee, a Geico Auto Insurance customer who saved over $300. This is not an actor we hired to play Angie McPhee. It's the Angie McPhee. So in your own words, tell us, Are you Angie McPhee?
Yes.
There. Unmistakable proof that Geico customers are real and save money. In 15 minutes, you could save 15%. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
Some original thinking by Starbucks barista Frank Botex.
What I love most is getting customers to smile in the morning. Starbucks is just a place to come and relax. Just kick your feet back. I mean, it's a second home. Starbucks is now in a grocery store, and what better way to just become your own personal barista at home? You go to the grocery store, pick up some coffee, take it home, let the aroma take over your body.
Your favorite Starbucks coffee. At grocery, at home, at last.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for tuning in today and every Saturday from 10 to noon Eastern Time. 888 Car Clinic is the number. 888-227-2546. If you're into writing code or you know much about automotive code, we'd love to hear from you and your input and your explanations. You know, it's really, really way cool. We're talking with Victor in Washington, and Victor, you ask about the ones and O's, or you mentioned ones and O's, and during the break, Kevin was talking about the fact that code is, well, in fact, Kevin, if you would, give Victor and our listeners an overview of letters and numbers versus ones and O's.
Sure. So in the early, I should preface this by saying that I'm just a hobbyist. I'm not that well versed in these sorts of things, so I may be a little bit off. But in the early days of computers, if you lived through that time, you probably remember punch cards and that sort of thing. And those punch cards, either having a whole or a solid piece, that was indicating the ones and zeros, and you had to figure out the ones and zeros by hand to send to the computer to signal it to do mathematics or whatever else you wanted the computer to do. Nowadays, we have things called programming languages where you can learn more abstracted out functionalities that are pre-programmed into computers, and you write those out with specific nomenclature with letters and words and periods and symbols, and then these languages are already, when the program is compiled, it is translated into the ones and zeros that you would feed into the computer.
So Victor, having said that, obviously these gentlemen that had a vehicle were able to see a crack in the wall, and they simply, not simply, what they did, they're brainiacs, no question about that, but they found a way to get into an open source, and that open source allowed them to go in and make changes that affected other parts of the vehicle. And this is one of the factors, and I mentioned this earlier on in today's broadcast with the Consumer Electronics Show some 10 years ago. This was one of the factors and one of the considerations and that OEMs, car makers, had with regard to allowing, at that time, it being, what were they allowing? Allowing more media. In other words, everybody wants to carry their music, or you want to hear satellite radio, or you want to have the maps. And so the way you work that is you go with, for instance, OnStar. And see, we talk about being able to voice a text to someone today. OnStar could do that 10 years ago, but the cars weren't ready, and neither were we. So they elected not to do that. But fact, because I've been to the Ren Center and talked with the individuals at OnStar, and there are so many communication avenues and opportunities that are available. It's just how do we safely, how do we make these available on a showroom floor of a new car and make them safe? And I'll give you an example. And Victor, you're still with us, right?
Yes, I am. Yes.
I don't know if you saw recently, but someone took a drone and a rifle. I don't know if you saw that. Kevin.
I did.
You did, yeah. And
yeah.
was flying a rifle with a drone and firing the rifle with a drone. Now,
yeah, and it was able to handle the repercussions. Like it had a spring load or something. You think it would shoot that little drone clear back to wherever?
yes, I saw that. I saw that video. Now, from day one, my concern about autonomous cars, the only concern that I have, is not about are they safe, or because what they use, the LIDAR, LIDAR, and as a company in California makes that piece of equipment. All the manufacturers have bought a LIDAR from this company, and that can. And I'm not sure of the technology it uses, but laser, I think. And it has eyes in the back of its head, the side of its head, 360 degrees. There's eyes everywhere and sensors. So there's no question that an autonomous car can, if you program, the program can recognize people, heat, objects, roads, road signs, and in fact, M City is a new city in Michigan, where the manufacturers are actually allowing autonomous cars to be driven in streets that have blind corners and over hills where you can't see. And that's the latest. I've got an article somewhere around on my desk here. Don't have it in front of me, but well, I do have it in front of me. And I won't go into it completely, but just to share with you that I thought this was really interesting. See, this is what I really truly. So for those of you who have a car question that want to know about changing your oil and filter and spark plugs and gaskets and transmission seals, I can answer those questions. I can definitely help you. I do prefer high tech because I've been in the business 44 years and I'm a techie kind of a guy. So I love that technology, but don't let that stop you from calling me at 888 Car Clinic and I'll answer your questions. But Victor, with regard to autonomous cars, the biggest concern I have is that we load a car up with a bomb and we drive it into some place with people and hurt people. So that's the real challenge. Now, having said that, we have now the technology is V2V, vehicle to vehicle crash avoidance. So for every vehicle that is autonomous, that vehicle is also instantly tracked and is trackable, because the very technology that it uses to go from point A to point B allows anybody with a tracker to track that vehicle. Now, obviously, which vehicles are the bad guys and which ones are the good guys? So, I mean, that's just part of, there are bad people. We can't let the threat of that part of our society stymie the growth in a technology, nor will we. It just won't happen, and we'll have to deal with whatever comes along as best that we can. And that's what laws are made for, and hopefully our politicians will recognize that and will apply those laws, appropriately. Anyway, what's your take on all this?
Well, the technology is moving so fast; it's hard for anybody to keep up with it.
Oh, I know.
And if we have the good guys with all the brain power, we can stay ahead. But the bad, there's some very smart bad people.
Yeah.
And that's where you get in problems. But I was just going to say this: all the main brain, like if you have to replace one, they all have the same codes and receptacles as far as wavelengths and everything, because you can put them in that model car or buy a new one, so they're all the same. So basically, I guess all these hackers have to do is get onto the code that talks to those computers, and they can get, because they're all the same, and maybe they just have to tweak it a little bit. They get onto that code, maybe they can trace it and then tweak it a little bit, so they can come in from a different place, a different area, and hit those cars.
Well, that's true, but see, you have to, one of two things has to happen. It has to be a hard wire, which means they have to have access to the vehicle and to its wiring, and which is not practical for the bad guys, or it has to be accessible through wireless, and therein where these hackers have found the penetration, point of penetration, because they went in through the map. Now, I don't know which door they went into, but obviously it was one of those that was opened. And what is opened? Well, that, for instance, satellite radio, you could send, and this technology is not new. I mean, 8 years you could, or even longer, before Sirius and XM actually joined and were one company, Sirius was looking for ways to beat their competition, which was XM, and so Sirius actually came out with a rear seat infotainment system that was a video, because you can't watch video in the driver's side. And then they make dual screens. They make screens that are the same screen, but the screens for the front driver are on different angles, so the driver can watch the map that he or she is looking at while the passenger can watch a video, because you have the same screen, but you have the screen that's broken in half like a book. And so you got one page that's at one angle and it favors the passenger, and you got another page that's at the driver's angle. So there's the technology to do what we would love to see done is there. The challenge is going to be to make it secure and safe, and make no mistake about it. This is on the minds of every new car maker possibly, and unfortunately these hackers hacked into the Chrysler product. But I would imagine the difference between, as you said, the Chrysler product that they hacked and the GM and the 2016 GM cars, and we've had many GM execs in house have all said that you're going to have a car that's a Wi-Fi. So if you're rolling down the road in a 2016 Chevrolet, and I'm rolling down the road in my car, I can drive alongside you. I don't know what the distance would be, but I can drive alongside you, and I can use your Wi-Fi and hack your Wi-Fi and use your Wi-Fi for internet or for other purposes. So those are all.
Well, the hacker is coming in electronically, and basically
wirelessly, yes, wirelessly.
Yeah, so basically, but even the ones and zeros are moved electronically. So if he can get into both the pulse side of the sensors and also into I'm just talking, I don't know.
No, I understand.
And also get into the moving the ones and zeros in the computer type side, because they're moved electronically too by some sort of indication as to move the one and move the zero how many times, and so if it's all basically, if you can get onto that electronic wave that's controlling the computers and the car, I'd imagine. Huh?
Well, I would imagine there, and just for that information, Mercedes is just recently touting the upcoming new E-Class as another major step along the road towards autonomous cars on highways. Get this, Victor, the new car will be able to maintain a constant distance behind the car in front. It speeds up to 124 miles an hour, and while it speeds up to 81 miles an hour, the system doesn't rely on lane markings. Now, this means that the car can keep following a vehicle through roadworks and other areas where lane markings are not clearly visible. And so that's the new E-Class for Mercedes. And the next, when I come back, I'll share with you the information that I have on the new luxury F-150 Ford, the pickup, and that vehicle has 7 cameras. It has 2 cameras on either rearview mirror, and has, of course, a front and a rear. And then it has one on the inside mirror that looks for lanes and also dims the headlights. More when I come back. You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Ethanol by the numbers. Ethanol's octane rating, 90,200. Jobs ethanol created in 2011, 45%. Lower oil import dependency level due to ethanol. 25.3 million tons of greenhouse gas emissions reduced by ethanol's use. 9 per gallon reduction in wholesale gasoline prices enabled by ethanol in 2011. 42.4 billion ethanol's contribution to the gross national product. 6 million miles traveled in testing E15. 2001 model year and newer light duty vehicles approved for E15 use. 1.7 to 2.3 units of energy ethanol yielded for used to produce it. 20. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Fuels Association.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
You can call them used. You can call them previously driven. You can call them anything you want.
The point is somebody, maybe even a dozen somebodies, owned the car before you did. And before you put down your hard-earned dollars for the car, you deserve it. Get a vehicle history report from Carfax.com. They'll give you the real history of any used car. Visit CARFAX.com or ask your dealer for a Carfax report. Don't buy a used car without...
I, Dennis Walker, pledge allegiance to the roof. I know it'll be clean. I know it will be comfortable. And I know that if the phone rings when I'm in the shower, I can just let it ring. For I have voicemail. Red Roof Inn. One room, under budget, with free cable and local calls for all.
98% of Red Roof guests are so satisfied with their visit, they plan to come back. Now that's not just loyalty, that's allegiance. For reservations, call 800-RED-ROOF.
We're a land of cynics. We don't believe anything anymore. You know why? Because we've been told we've won $1 million, that it's new and improved, that it slices and dices, that our favorite singer is still alive, that we'll be prosecuted if we cut off the tags, and of course that everything is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So when we hear the words customer service, we don't believe it. Travelocity isn't surprised if you're a little skeptical when they say they have excellent customer service, and that there's actually a pleasant face behind this website, a living, breathing, a supercharged computer full of answers. Someone who's willing to help when you get lost, and most of all, someone that will actually pick up the phone when you call with a question or a concern. Customer service is just another example of how Travelocity puts you in control of travel. You never have to use it, but it's good to know it'll be there if you need it. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. We're having an unusual conversation today. I love it. We're talking with Victor, and we'll take your calls at 888 Car Clinic. Really about the recent story about hacking an automobile, and also about the million lines of code that today's new cars have. And I'll be sharing with you information about the driverless car testing facility, the M-City it's called, in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So Victor, here's the challenge. We all would like, not we all, but new cars and more new cars are being sold and offered and manufactured so that we can have the conveniences of our cell phones with us and be connected. It's all about the connected cars. I mean, 10 years ago, I moderated the session, and it was a connected automobile, connected car. So that's a part of our lives, and it's an enjoyable part. I mean, on my vehicle, there are 5 AV inputs. So I can listen to satellite radio, I can listen to the music from a video. I can't watch it while I'm driving, but the rear passengers can. I also have a USB input and another. There's 5 AV inputs. So those are all conveniences, and part of that is the reason that I bought that particular car, because I want those. And the more technology is involved in an automobile, the more opportunity I have to enjoy that car. Then that's exactly what I'd like to have, and I'm not by myself. So
you talked about the crankshaft and the sensor on the crankshaft, and I always wondered about that.
Okay,
but
well, you've got a magnet that is fixed in a certain location, and what the engines now are modified so that they drill a hole, a passageway in the belly of the engine, and they plug in a magnet, and then the crankshaft has a clock on it with a tooth with 360 degrees, and every time one of these teeth goes by, it tells exactly where the crankshaft is. So that's how you know how to time the engine. And then for those variable camshafts, each of the cams has a cam sensor and also tells the computer where the cam is. So if the cam sensor goes bad, you can limp home with the crank sensor, because you may not have all of the power and all the torque and all those good things, but you can at least have a program that's a fail-safe program to get you across the bridge or back to an automotive service shop without it breaking down. So that's how cars are timed, and to that end, in an 8-cylinder car, Victor, you could have one that has 10 degrees before top dead center, and the very next cylinder that fires, and you're talking microseconds here, milliseconds, the very next cylinder that fires might have 8 degrees or 14 degrees of timing. That's how quickly and how responsive, just like the magnetoreological magnet control ride, GM car or the Corvette or a lot of cars these days, you can change the viscosity of the oil in the shock absorbers because they have put metal in the oil, for lack of a better description, and that oil, when you send a magnetic signal, it makes as you know, magnet makes the metal stand up, and so that changes the viscosity of the oil, which changes the ride quality and the control of the vehicle. So that's how that all works. It's very, very interesting, and that technology works within 2 milliseconds. That's unbelievable. In a blink of an eye, it's 200 milliseconds. Your questions?
In other words, the metal in the oil changes its way of laying in the oil to change the...
Yes.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. It is way cool. It's way cool. It is, and we've got. Let me just share this with you. There are other callers that I want to get in, and I will. An automotive proving ground intended to help Michigan lead in driverless car technology officially opened Monday at the University of Michigan, M-City. It's a simulated city with building facades and sidewalk cafes. There are 5 miles of roadways, working traffic signals, streetlights, construction cones, even potholes. Within the confines of the 32-acre course on campus, autonomous cars and advanced automotive technology will be tested and refined, and that opened. And by the way, that was a University of Michigan, and the Michigan DOT, Department of Transportation, they pooled about $10 million to open the test facility, and construction actually began last year. And then I'll make one more statement, and then we'll go to the phones. The road testing at the M-City has been going on for months, and more than a dozen companies, such as Ford Motor Company, General Motors, and Toyota, and suppliers, including Denso. You've heard me talk about the Iridium TT, the Denso TT spark plug. Well, Denso is right in there with General Motors and Toyota and Ford Motor Company, and they'll be able to sign up to test on the site in 4-hour increments. So just imagine, while some states won't let you drive an autonomous car, here you've got a city. So line them up. This is it's like going to a firing ground or a racetrack, or in this case, M-City, which is for the autonomous cars. I think it's fantastic. I love technology, and this just shows you where we're going. And what does this mean for us? It saves lives. It makes cars safer. There's no safer car than what we're driving today. Anyway, Victor, I really appreciate your calls as always. You're most stimulating, and I really love it that you call in.
I appreciate your information, and I think you're kind of in the genius area there.
Oh, I don't know about that, but
just to be able to keep all that in your mind and everything,
Well, I love that technology part of it, and I really appreciate your kind words. Let me hear from you again soon.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks.
Thank you. We'll take a call from Mimi. Mimi, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, Bobby. Appreciate your sentiments about Louisiana. That's where I'm from. I'm from the Lafayette area.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And I'm calling today because we're out car shopping. We were going to test drive, and my husband put you on the radio, and we had one of those, oh, I should have called Bobby moments.
I hear you.
We're just narrowing it down to whether or not to repair my 2008 Volvo C70, the little convertible that I've had for a couple of years. It has about 48,000 miles, and what we're told is that a valve just broke, fell down into the cylinder, and somehow the cylinder is scored and the engine's shot. So they are willing to get us a used motor with 60,000 miles and repair that car versus us looking at, to get a new used car.
What is the warranty? What is the warranty on the used 50 motor?
There's no warranty. And the new one, the used one.
Yes, ma'am.
90 days.
Well, oddly enough, in that arena, see, 50,000 miles is nothing. I mean, 250. Yes. So
yes.
So we have, and this is a surprise to me, but recently we were faced, one of our customers was faced with what to do with a engine, and we were talking about a used engine versus a reman engine. Because you say, well, I've got a used engine already, so do I want another one just like it? But that wasn't the case. In fact, some of the folks that we deal with offered.
We're coming. We're on our way.
Go ahead, Bobby. That's okay. You're double tasking there. I'm with you. You want to see if the recycling yard offers an extended warranty. Because I don't know, I'd have to talk with Brennan Beasley, who is our general manager, but he recently, and don't quote me on this, but recently, as I remember, and it was just in passing, he says, "Oh, Bobby, it's not like it used to be." He said, "We're getting like a 6-month or 1 year warranty on this used engine, and they'll even cover labor." So I think you should. First, I think Monday you should talk to the manager to get the latest on the information that he has that we use for our customers in our shop, so that you'll know and be better informed. With regard to a dollar standpoint, if you put a used engine in this 08 vehicle and the rest of the vehicle is okay, there's no way that you could, not no way, that's a good decision, because 50,000 miles on an engine is a nit. Now, granted, you lost an engine with 50,000 miles. That's not the norm these days. You know it. I know it. There has to be some reason for that, but we can't know what that is, and we can't cover that at this particular time. But I will tell you that from a dollar standpoint, you'll save lots of money repairing that automobile, provided the rest of the car is in decent shape. And I can imagine that an 08 car with 50,000 miles could be in that bad of a shape, but only you would know that, because you know what has and has not been performed with regard to maintenance.
Yeah, it was a leased car,
right?
And so she did all the maintenance required for those 4 or 5 years, and I've had it 2 years, and we had it serviced as well. So that's all we know, is that we have. Right. This car has had all the service required.
Ask in depth about the what sort of warranty comes with that used engine, and you should be able to get at least a 6-month. It would include labor, maybe even a year's warranty. If not, feel free to call my service company, Bobby Likis Car Clinic, on Monday, and talk to Brennan and ask him, what is the norm these days with used engines. And and so that'll give you the information, and you and your husband can make a more intelligent decision.
All right. We really appreciate it, Bobby.
Thank you.
Thank you, too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Now let's go to Texas and talk with Tony. And, folks, we'll take your calls at 888-227-2546. Tony, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome, sir.
I have 2 Buicks, a LaCrosse and a Terraza, and I've had nothing but troubles out of the computer on both machines.
Well, you say you've had nothing but trouble. Pick one. Say
the LaCrosse started with the lights flashing for about 3 or 4 minutes. The mechanic told us to try the body control module, so we replaced that. Didn't make a difference. We also it would get up to 60 miles an hour and act like there was a governor on it and would stop. So we replaced the throttle body intake. That didn't make a difference.
Well, who is we, Tony? Who's actually performing the work, and who's doing the testing on the components that you're replacing before you replace them?
It's AMCO Transmission, and they do most of the city work for the city automobile. So it's a reputable mechanic, and it's just, I guess it's just a hit and miss. They put it on the computer, and it doesn't tell them what to do.
Well, you know, I feel your pain, and I can feel their pain as well, because most often you repair cars in steps, and that's a hard line to explain, because you never know. You know, I've said this for years, in my 44 years. You know, your car, if you bring your car to my shop, your car isn't fixed until you say it is, and because you can, in all earnest, you can work and find a defective part and replace that part in the vehicle, test okay afterwards, and then you drive the car. But until you give that car back to the customer, back to Tony, and Tony takes it and drives it, will it act up or do the right thing or the wrong thing? Now, here's one thing I do know with regard to electronics. There are, as I said earlier, electronic trees where we test a product, or if that component passes that test, then it being the test mode will refer you to another component. And if you get a yes there, you'd go down that road. If you get a no, you'd go down another road. But ultimately, some of those electronics, some of those black boxes, and you know this because you're experiencing this, you replace what is known or what is thought to be, obviously thought to be defective, and the car's still not fixed. But you've got to find, there's some individual or some shop that is more qualified to work on specific automobiles. While this shop may well be a great shop and perform a lot of services for the city, that technician may or may not be as familiar with your particular automobile, because you don't want anybody learning on your nickel. And so that's what the bottom line is. So I'm going to suggest to you, if you feel like that you've got this car that keeps giving you this bad, electronic controls, there's something that's going on a little deeper that this technician hasn't found, and I think you need to get a second opinion. And I'm certainly not throwing the technician under the bus. I'm not that. That's one part of my industry that I really am dissatisfied with. There's too many of us throw others under the bus, so I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, a good doctor, you might want to get a second opinion, and don't ask for diagnosis, Tony. Ask for test. Here's what this car is not doing. Would you test it, and then give me the report after the test? And then if they find a solid with a car or a component, fine, replace it. Otherwise, do another test or ride it until it gets to the point that it doesn't work. And to that point, I'm out of time, so I got to go.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyright of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated, and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Today's new product spotlight is on Cardone Ultra Premium Calipers. You've spent hours getting your ride ready for a cruise around town. You can see your reflection in your door and eat off the dashboard. But what about those rusty calipers? They just can't withstand the elements. But Cardone Ultra Premium Calipers feature an exclusive weatherproof coating that protects against rust and corrosion. Wrapped in a sleek, powder-coated silver finish, Cardone Ultra Premium Calipers look sharp and complement all wheel types. Installation is easy and all necessary hardware is provided. Cardone Ultra Premium Calipers provide the best of both worlds, premium appearance and superior performance. And now, through November 30, Cardone Ultra Premium Caliper you purchase gives you a chance to win a Ford Mustang GT. Monthly winners will also be chosen to win a $250 Visa gift card. Register and report each product code at CardoneUltra.com. That's CardoneUltra.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Milky Ricey Outfitters. I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle loaded or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning, happy morning.